Former UFC fighter Kenney, who fought current champ Merab Dvalishvili in the UFC, as well as holding wins over former title challengers like Ray Borg and Brandon Royval, has been arrested. He's sentenced to 6 months in jail after pleading guilty to a reduced charge of aggravated assault related to a domestic violence incident. Original case had more serious allegations like kidnapping, multiple assault charges, but the plea deal brought it down to a Class 6 felony. His sentence started October 30th, so last week he's going to serve 3 years probation while completing a substance abuse program and domestic violence treatment program. On top of that, he's also on a supervised probation for a separate drug paraphernalia case, which requires 100 hours of community service and additional substance abuse treatment. The incident took place in July of 2024 in his home. It involved claims that the victim was physically assaulted over several hours and threatened with a gun if anyone intervened. Kenney hasn't fought since 2021 when he lost to Song Yadong at UFC 265. Ian Anderson probably happy about Casey Kenney's demise. He once said that he wouldn't bang her unless it was 3 or 4 in the morning and he was bored. He said that on O'Malley's podcast and it ended up making headlines. Eventually, he apologized. Holly Holm's getting a title shot. Is that something you can believe? Is that credible to you? Do you see that being true? Does that sound believable to you? Can you wrap your head around that? Can you buy that? Does that hold up? Does that make sense to you? Holly Holm takes on Stephanie Han Saturday, January 3rd in San Juan, Puerto Rico. That's for the WBA World Lightweight Championship, 135 pounds. Holly Holm won her last fight in Misfits Boxing against Yolanda Vega. Stephanie Han has a record of 11-0. The Bulgarians coach, Mark Montoya, says my gym's being attacked, integrity attacked. I just want to say first and foremost, we had nothing to do with any of these allegations that are being brought upon us. These guys should just stay out of the media because it's going to be an investigation. Montoya looked really scared during that interview, which is understandable. If he's innocent, he doesn't want to look guilty. If he's guilty, he doesn't want to look guilty, but they should just stay out of the media and just talk through lawyers if they gotta talk. BKFC, December 5th, Pedroma versus Willis. Someone's gotta go. You can try out for BKFC on the 23rd of this month in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Chase Roman Coppola has been at the UFC 5 video game. He takes on Gregory Rodriguez next week. That's going to be an entertaining striking battle. Someone probably going to get knocked out. Good kick box. Jackson McVeigh was supposed to fight this weekend against Robert Valentin, but Valentin is injured. He hurt his back, spinal. Dante Johnson was supposed to replace him, but he was not medically cleared to fight, even though he looked quite healthy, stopping Cedricus Dumas really quickly recently. However, he's not fighting on Saturday, so Jackson McVeigh's new opponent is Zach Reese, who takes the fight on 3 days' notice. That's brave of him to do so. He will be the favorite, however. Reese is 9-2 in MMA. McVeigh is 6-1. One loss was in the UFC against Bruno Ferreira. Took the fight on short notice. That's a tough thing to do against Bruno Ferreira, so he got armbarred in first round. Zach Reese, last fight was against Dumas, kicked him in the groin 51 seconds into the fight, so it ended up being a no contest because Dumas could not continue.
Hey, I was ready. I was more than ready. You know, as soon as I got that text, the answer was simple, you know. But it's God's plan. It didn't work out that way. The commission didn't accept it. It's partially my fault because if I would have got him out in the first round, they would have accepted it. But again, like I said, it's God's plan. And, you know, just know that I'm ready. And I'm always going to stay ready. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. And, you know, something's coming soon. Something's coming soon. So I appreciate all the love and support. You know, all publicity is good publicity. And, yeah. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Hopefully something happens real soon because, you know, I'm ready. I'm ready to get in there ASAP. Like I said, it's God's plan. So, you know, I appreciate all the love and support. You know, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. You know, I'm excited to continue this journey. But in the meantime, I guess I'll enjoy Vegas for a couple more days. I'm out here with my mama. And, yeah, I appreciate you guys. Talk soon. I love y'all. God bless y'all.
Kevin Holland just turned 33. He wanted a 6 fight this year, but he's not going to get it. No number 6 this year. We got our ass kicked too many times. Sorry, folks. I tried. You know, he had a Kevin Holland type of 12 months. Lose 2, win 2, lose 2. It's kind of up and down. The 2 he won, though, he looked good. Vicente Luque, Anaconda, round 2. Gunnar Nelson, unanimous decision. Suspension almost up. Thank you, baby Jesus. Sean Strickland happy his suspension is almost over. He'd like to return maybe in January or February, take on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who'll be back by then as well off injury. 6 arrests this year is wild. Talking about BJ Penn. BJ Penn is one of the greatest lightweights of all time. He was always a little off, though, but brain trauma and drugs didn't help the situation. Followed this channel for years, didn't know until today that the voiceover was AI. It's not AI, but how do you know it's not AI? How can you prove something is real or fake? How do you know what you're seeing is real or not real? How do you know which UFC fight you're watching is rigged or not? LOL, no way that Jones is getting on the White House card now. Dana loved Jones, but now not so much.
I loved him like a brother-in-law.
Boxing promoter Lou DeBell thinks Dana White handled the situation with Bulgarian well, calling the FBI immediately, because UFC in a sense is a part of the Trump administration now, like an arm of the administration, and they have a great working relationship and partnership with the FBI, so there's a decent chance UFC ain't going to be accused of any wrongdoing or negligence. Not that they are guilty of anything, but some people question whether it was the right thing for them to do to still go forward with that fight with Bulgarian and Delvai, with all the suspicious stuff going on beforehand. They had the option to pull the fight. There was nothing binding them to keep the fight going, but it did go on.
And I think Dana has handled it appropriately. I think his response has been exactly what it should have been. I think calling Cash Patel immediately and getting the phone with the FBI, they clearly are close to this administration. They're going to be treated with kid gloves. They basically are part of this administration. They're about to do a fight card on the White House lawn, right? But I think that Dana handled it appropriately, right? Anybody that gets implicated in this shit, we're going to run them out of the fucking business. And any assistance we need to give to the FBI, we're going to give. And any deep dive we need to do, we're going to do. He said those things. That's what he needed to say.
Kyle Daukaus recently made a triumphant return to the UFC. He was a huge underdog against Michel Pereira, and he knocked him out in 43 seconds. Pereira took a dive in that fight. No, he didn't. But all this talk about fight fixing, I'm fixing to knock Gerald's block off at UFC 322. That's next week at Madison Square Garden, New York City. If he doesn't knock his block off, though, maybe round 3 submission mirror start. That often happens. He's kind of like a Neo Magny figure in the middleweight division. If he could take a beating for a couple rounds, but come round 3, he might tap you out. If you get a little bit tired, that comes with a good BJJ game, being tough and having 57 fights as experience. Daukaus himself is a seasoned fighter as well in all aspects of the game, so it should be a good fight. This guy's parlay was saved by Muhammad Usman having elevated levels of testosterone and not being able to fight Walter Walker and get heel hooked in round 1.
You fixed a fight, didn't you?
Americans bet $148 billion on sports last year, which is more than they spent on movies, books, concerts, sports tickets combined.
You want to bet on that?
Benil Dariush thinks it's totally going to ruin the sport if there's fight fixing happening regularly in the UFC. He takes on Benoit Saint-Denis next week. Battle of the Bands, UFC 322 in New York. 1 week later on the UFC Qatar card, Shamrock makes his UFC debut on that card against the Tajik Eagle. That's 10-0 Narulo Aliyah versus Shamrock, who is 12-1. Tension versus Inoue on November 24th for the Bantamweight title. PFL MENA and PFL Africa fights are going to be on Vice TV December 5 and December 20th. The IBF final eliminator for Daniel Dubois and Frank Sanchez is headed to Purse Bids. It's scheduled for next week, November 13th.
They handed me the Crown Cannon, go keep it now. Everything changed when I started driving and I blew up like a rocket. I made it to the UFC. Signed by Dana White, oh. Yeah, I'ma go on beast mode. Step into the octagon with Frank and Mike. Feeling the rhythm of the fight is tight. Adrenaline fueling every move I got. In this world of warriors, I find my spot.